I'm curled up on the worn-out couch in my tiny Seattle apartment. A mug of chamomile tea warming my hands. The mid-December rain drums against the window. A steady patter that blends with the hum of the radiator in the corner. My phone buzzes on the coffee table, and I glance at the screen. A text from Mom. My stomach twists, but I swipe to open it, expecting some holiday chatter about Christmas plans. Hannah, we think it's best if you don't come home for Christmas this year. The message reads, her words sharp and casual, like she's canceling a coffee date. Lauren's had a rough year, and she needs a peaceful holiday. Let's keep things calm. I stare at the screen, the words blurring as I read them again, hoping I've misunderstood. Not invited to Christmas because of Lauren, my older sister, the family's golden child who's never had to answer for anything. I set the mug down, the clink of ceramic against wood louder than it should be in the quiet room. Lauren, 30 years old, a self-proclaimed yoga coach who's always been coddled like she's one deep breath away from breaking. And me, Hannah, 27, a clerk at an independent bookstore, scraping by on late shifts and extra hours to send money home. Over $10 in the last 2 years. Wired straight to the family house in the Seattle suburbs to cover water bills and fix the creaky heating system. Peaceful, I mutter, my voice catching. What about the $5,500 I sent this year alone to keep their pipes from freezing? I lean back, the couch creaking under me. The rain outside picks up, streaking the window like tears. I work at a little bookstore on Pike Street, surrounded by dog-eared novels and the smell of old paper. I stay late to shelve books, skip lunches to save a few bucks. Also, I can send money home when Mom calls. Panicked about another bill, but now, this text feels like a door slamming shut. Lauren gets a peaceful Christmas, and I'm left out in the cold, literally and figuratively. I close my eyes, trying to steady my breathing. My apartment's small, but it's mine. A second-hand lamp casts a soft glow. A thrifted rug warms the floor, and the radiator hums steadily. It's not much, but I've built this space from scratch. Yet, Mom's message cuts deeper than the December chill seeping through the window frame. It's not just about missing Christmas. It's about being erased from the family. Like I'm nothing more than a check they cash when the house gets too cold. I pick up the phone again, my thumb hovering over the reply button. Part of me wants to type out everything, how I've sacrificed, how I've gone without, how unfair it is to be sidelined for Lauren's sake. But my throat tightens, and I set the phone down. The rain keeps falling, relentless, and I realize something heavy and clear. I've been holding up a house that never really had a place for me. I sit there, Mom's text still burning in my mind, and my eyes drift to the laptop on the coffee table. I open it, pulling up my bank account, the one that's been bleeding for years to keep the family house running. The numbers don't lie. January last year, $700 for a water bill when Mom called. Voice shaky, saying the pipes were at risk of bursting. April, $1,500 to fix the heating system after Dad complained the house was so cold he could see his breath. September this year, $900 to cover another bill after Lauren, my sister, blew through the family's savings on her latest flop. Over $10 in 2 years. Sent from my account to theirs. No questions asked. I lean back on the couch. The Seattle rain a steady hum outside. Lauren, 30, the family's visionary. She calls herself a yoga coach, posting videos on Instagram of her doing sun salutations in overpriced leggings, preaching about living your truth. Her followers eat it up, but her bank account tells a different story. Last year, she sank $18 into an online yoga studio, some fancy website promising virtual classes that never took off. Nobody signed up. The equipment's probably gathering dust in the garage. But did Mom or Dad say a word? Nope, just a shrug, and Lauren's still finding her path. Meanwhile, I'm the one they call when the bills pile up. I rub my temples, feeling the ache from last night's shift at the bookstore. I work at this cozy little shop on Pike Street, shelving novels and recommending paperbacks to customers who smell like coffee and wet wool. The pay's barely enough to cover my rent, but I love the quiet of it. The way a good book can make you feel less alone. Still, I've skipped buying new boots, cancelled streaming subscriptions, and eaten instant noodles for weeks to free up cash for the family. Every time I sent money, I told myself it was what you do for the people you love. You help, no strings attached. But love's supposed to go both ways, right? I stare at the laptop screen. The transactions like a diary of my silence. When Lauren's yoga venture tanked, Mom cried about how stressed Lauren was, how she needed support. Dad just said, "She's got big dreams, Hannah." Not everyone gets it. I didn't say a word. Just wired the money. Meanwhile, Lauren's out there posting selfies from boutique cafes, sipping $8 matcha lattes. Her life a curated highlight reel. Every time I scroll past her posts, my hands ache from carrying boxes of books up the store's narrow stairs. I think back to Christmas 2017, when I was still working part-time at a library to make ends meet. I saved up for a bus ticket home, showed up with a cheap bottle of wine and a smile. We sat around the dining table, Mom's cranberry sauce glowing under the lights, Dad telling his same old fishing stories. Lauren was there, talking about her next big thing, and I just listened. Happy to be part of it. That warmth feels like a lifetime ago. Like a page torn out of a book I can't find anymore. The rain outside turns heavier, pounding the window. I think about all the times I've been the one to fix things. When the water heater broke last winter, I stayed up late researching plumbers, paying the bill before Mom could panic. When Lauren borrowed money from the family savings for her yoga props, I covered the shortfall so Dad wouldn't notice. Over $10, and not once did they ask how I was doing. If I was okay, if I needed anything. I was just Hannah, the reliable one, the one who'd always say yes. I close the laptop, my chest tight. The radiator hums, but it can't touch the cold settling inside me. I've been carrying a house that never made room for me, propping up a family that sees Lauren's dreams as stars and my sacrifices as background noise. And now, they've locked me out of Christmas. Like I'm an extra character in their story, easily written off. Mom's text sits heavy in my chest, like a stone I can't swallow. I stand up from the couch, pacing the small living room of my Seattle apartment. The rain outside is relentless, a gray curtain blurring the world beyond my window. Not invited because of Lauren. I whisper, the words bitter on my tongue. I'm Hannah, 27. The bookstore clerk who's been pouring every spare dollar into keeping the family house afloat. Over $10 in 2 years for water bills and heating repairs. And now I'm the one left out of Christmas. I stop pacing and grab my laptop, my hands trembling. I log into the online payment portal I set up for the family 2 winters ago, when Mom called in a panic about a skyrocketing water bill. Every month since, I've paid it, no questions asked, because I thought that's what family does. But now, staring at the screen, I see the cancel service button glowing like a quiet rebellion. My finger hovers over the mouse, my heart pounding. I think about the nights I've stayed late at the bookstore, shelving novels until my shoulders ached, just to earn enough to send money home. I think about Lauren, my sister, posting Instagram videos in her yoga studio, her life a glossy lie while I skip buying a new coat to cover her mistakes. I think about Mom's text, so casual, like banning me from Christmas is no big deal. Something inside me snaps, not loud, but clear, like a book snapping shut. I click the button. A pop-up confirms, service will terminate on December 12th. 2 weeks before Christmas. I stare at the screen, my breath shallow. The radiator in the corner hums, a steady reminder of the warmth I've built here, in this tiny apartment I call my own. I close the laptop and walk to the window, the rain streaking down like it's trying to wash the world clean. Part of me feels lighter, like I've finally set down a weight I've carried too long. But another part, the one that remembers Christmas 2017, Mom's laughter, Dad's bad jokes, the glow of the tree, aches like a bruise. I pull out my phone and open a photo from that year. The 4 of us squeezed around the dining table, my smile wide and unguarded. I was still working part-time at a library then, saving every penny to make it home. Now, that memory feels like a story from someone else's life. I set the phone down and wrap my hands around my tea mug. The warmth seeping into my palms. The rain keeps falling, steady and unforgiving, like it's daring me to regret what I've done. But I don't. For the first time in years, I've chosen myself, not the family that sees me as a safety net. I don't know what'll happen when the water shuts off. But I know one thing. I'm done being the one who fixes everything, only to be pushed aside when the table's set. December 12th comes quietly, but I feel it like a shift in the air. The water service to the family house in the Seattle suburbs is officially cut off. I'm in my apartment, the radiator humming softly, the rain a steady drumbeat outside. I don't check my phone right away, but I know what's coming. I'm Hannah, 27, the bookstore clerk who's been holding up a house that doesn't want me. I canceled the water payments, and now the consequences are rolling in. The first message hits the next morning. It's from Mom. Hannah, the water's off. Can you check the account? Something's wrong. I read it, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. But I don't reply. I set the phone face down on the coffee table and head to the kitchen. I brew a pot of Earl Grey, the steam curling up like a small act of defiance. The apartment smells like tea and old books. And for once, I let myself linger in the quiet. That evening, Lauren texts, real mature. Hannah, you're ruining everything. I laugh. A sharp, hollow sound that bounces off the walls. Lauren, the 30-year-old yoga coach who's never had to clean up her own messes. I can picture her now, pouting in her overpriced athleisure, posting cryptic Instagram stories about toxic energy. I mute her messages and open a podcast about literary mysteries, the host's voice filling the room like a warm blanket. The messages keep coming over the next few days. Mom again. It's down to 50 degrees Fahrenheit in the house. Hannah, the heating system needs water to work. Dad's coughing. Then Dad, his text curt. Call me. This isn't a game. Lauren sends another. You're so selfish. I don't respond to any of them. Instead, I head to the bookstore for my shift, shelving novels under the soft glow of string lights. The customers are bundled in scarves, their boots tracking rain onto the floor. And I lose myself in the rhythm of work. Back home, I treat myself to a small luxury Viet's Nay Ko the Kien Ban Bai Fan Tam. Hey Kiem Tra Kak Muk Kwon Sao to be at them Kai Tiet. At a time, skipping meals to send money home. I've been the one keeping the water running, the heat on, and now they're feeling what it's like without me. The rain doesn't let up. A constant drizzle that makes Seattle feel like it's holding its breath. I buy a small bookshelf for my apartment, a sturdy little thing from a thrift shop, and spend an evening arranging my favorite paperbacks, Jane Eyre, The Bell Jar, a dog-eared copy of Beloved. It's a quiet kind of joy, building a space that's mine, not a lifeline for someone else. By December 15th, the texts get desperate. Mom, Hannah, it's 45 degrees Fahrenheit in the house. Lauren's freaking out, and Dad's joints are acting up. Please call. I read it while sipping tea, the mug warm against my palms. I don't answer. Lauren posts an Instagram story, a selfie in a wool hat with the caption, when life feels like a cold, dark winter. I scroll past, feeling nothing, not pity, not guilt, just a strange, steady calm. Dad leaves a voicemail on the 16th. Hannah, the house is freezing. If you know what's going on, call me back. His voice is sharp, edged with worry, but I don't listen to it twice. Instead, I walk to a nearby cafe, order a lavender latte, and crack open a new novel. The cafe's warm, filled with the clink of cups and the murmur of conversation. I let myself sink into the story, the words pulling me somewhere else. Somewhere I don't have to be the family's safety net. On December 18th, a call comes from the water company. Miss Hannah, are you renewing the service for the house on Cedar Lane? The account's in your name. And we haven't heard from the homeowners. I stand by the window, watching rain streak the glass. No, I say, my voice clear. The contract's cancelled. I'm not responsible for that house anymore. The rep hesitates, then says, so, no plans to continue payments? I nod, though she can't see me. That's right. The texts pile up as Christmas nears. Mom, it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Hannah, Lauren's coughing, And I can't even wash dishes. Dad. This isn't about money. It's family. Lauren. Her words venomous. You're dead to us. I save the messages, not to dwell on them, but as a reminder of what I've carried and what I've let go. I don't delete them. I don't reply. On December 20th, a storm rolls into Seattle. Rain turning to sleet. The city huddling under a gray sky. I wrap myself in a thick sweater, brew more tea, and curl up with my book. The radiator hums, steady and sure. I wonder if they're piling blankets in the living room. If Lauren's still sulking. If Mom's hands are numb from the cold. But I don't linger on it. I've spent too long keeping their house alive while they pushed me out of it. I set the book down and pull the bookshelf closer, running my fingers over the spines. The rain beats against the window. But inside, everything's warm, quiet, mine. I'm not happy they're struggling. But I'm not sorry either. I'm just living, finally, in a space I've carved out for myself. Not a house that never had a seat for me at the table. Christmas morning dawns gray and wet. The Seattle rain a soft hiss against my apartment window. I'm Hannah, 27. A bookstore clerk who's been holding my ground since I canceled the water service to the family house 2 weeks ago. I wake early, brewing coffee in my tiny kitchen. The scent filling the air as I toast a slice of bread. No turkey, no cranberry sauce. No echoes of the family dinners I used to rush home for. Just me, a mug, and the quiet I've chosen. I'm halfway through spreading jam when the doorbell cuts through the calm. Sharp and insistent, my stomach tightens. I don't need to check to know who it is. I walk to the door, peek through the peephole, and see Mom standing there, bundled in a puffy coat. Her face pale and pinched from the cold. Rain clings to her scarf. And her eyes carry that look I've known since I was a kid, not remorse, but expectation. I crack the door open. Warm air spilling out into the damp hallway. Hannah, Mom says, her breath puffing in the chill. We need to talk. I lean against the doorframe, one hand on the knob, keeping the gap narrow. I don't think today's the day for talking. Mom, her jaw tightens, but she pushes on. You cut the water. The house is a mess. No showers, no heat, nothing. It's 40 degrees Fahrenheit in there. Lauren's locked herself in her room. And your dad's joints are so bad he can't get out of bed. I hold her gaze. Steady. I didn't cut anything. I stopped paying. There's a difference. Mom shakes her head, rain dripping from her hood. You know we're not good with that online stuff. The account was in your name. When you canceled, the company didn't even tell us. Her voice is pleading. But there's an edge, like I'm the one who's supposed to fix this. I take a breath, the coffee's warmth still lingering in the air behind me. 2 years. Mom, over $10. I paid every water bill, every repair for that heating system. I worked late shifts at the bookstore, skipped meals, wore the same boots through 2 winters to send you money. And then, one text, and I'm out of Christmas because Lauren needs peace? My voice is calm, but each word lands like a stone. Mom flinches, but she recovers fast. It's not like that, Hannah. It was a misunderstanding. Lauren's been through so much, her yoga business fell apart. She's struggling. I let out a dry laugh. The sound sharp in the quiet hallway. Lauren's struggling because she chooses to. I stayed quiet when she blew $18 on that online yoga studio that nobody joined. I stayed quiet when she took money from her savings and left me to cover the bills. But when you banned me from Christmas to coddle her, that was it. No more. She stands there, rain pooling at her feet. And for a moment, she's silent. Then she tries again, softer. We don't have the money. Hannah, we've sold what we could, some of Dad's old tools. A few lamps. The water company wants an upfront payment we can't afford. Your dad's in pain. I'm begging you. The cold seeps through the cracked door. But I don't move. You told me to stay away to keep things calm for Lauren. I say, my voice low. I did exactly that. I stayed away. And you know what? I've found my calm. I opened the door a little wider, letting her see the apartment behind me. The small table set for one. The bookshelf I bought last week. The soft glow of a lamp in the corner. The faint smell of coffee. It's not much, but it's mine. Built without anyone's permission. Mom's eyes flicker over the room. Then back to me. You're punishing us, she says, her voice tight. All this over one text. I shake my head. The words coming easier now. It's not punishment. It's letting you feel what it's like to push someone away when you think they'll always be there. I'm done being the one you call when the house falls apart but not when the table's set. She stares at me, her hands gripping her scarf. For a second, I think she might say something else. Something that could change things. But she just turns, her boots squelching in the wet hallway, and walks away. I close the door, the lock clicking into place with a clean, final sound. The rain keeps falling outside. But inside, I pour another coffee, my hands steady. For the first time in years, I'm not trembling under the weight of someone else's needs. It's a week after Christmas, and the Seattle rain has settled into a steady drizzle, cloaking the city in a soft gray haze. I'm Hannah, 27, a bookstore clerk who's finally learning what it feels like to live for myself. The confrontation with Mom on Christmas morning lingers. But it's not heavy anymore, just a memory. Like a book I've read and shelved. I'm in my apartment, sorting through a stack of paperbacks, when my phone buzzes with a text from Mia, my best friend since high school. Call me, you need to hear this. It says. I set the books down and dial her number. Curling up on the couch. The radiator hums in the corner, and the faint scent of chamomile tea hangs in the air. Mia doesn't waste time. Hannah, I just found out something about Lauren, she says, her voice low, like she's sharing a secret that could break glass. You know how your parents always said the family savings were tight because of bills and stuff? That wasn't the whole story. My stomach twists, but I stay quiet, letting her go on. Lauren withdrew $12 from the family's joint account last spring. Mia says, she told your parents it was for a big yoga campaign, some online ad push to rebrand her classes. But it flopped. No one signed up, and she lost every penny. The worst part? Your parents knew and didn't tell you. They covered for her, said it was just a mistake, and let you keep paying the house bills like nothing happened. I grip the phone, my knuckles whitening. The family savings, that account Mom always called the emergency fund. The one I thought was drained by water bills and repairs I'd been covering. I've sent over $10 in 2 years, thinking I was keeping the house afloat, while Lauren was siphoning off thousands for another one of her pipe dreams. And they hid it from me. Let me believe I was the only one holding things together. Mia, are you sure? I ask, my voice barely above a whisper. She sighs. I saw the proof. Lauren texted your mom about it, promising to make it right. I got a screenshot from a mutual friend who works at the bank. Want me to send it? I nod, though she can't see me. Yeah, please. A minute later, my phone pings. The screenshot shows Lauren's message. I'll pay it back. Mom, I swear, don't tell Hannah, she'll overreact. My throat burns as I read it. I set the phone down and stare out the window. Rain streaking the glass like veins. All this time, I thought the family's silence was just neglect. Their way of taking me for granted. But this is worse. They didn't just ignore my sacrifices, they manipulated me. Shielded Lauren while I worked late shifts at the bookstore, shelving novels until my hands ached. To cover their lies, over $10 from me. And they let her burn $12 without a word. I stand up, pacing the small room. The radiator's hum feels louder now, grounding me. I think about Christmas, Mom standing in my doorway, begging for help, never mentioning Lauren's betrayal. I think about every bill I paid, every time I skipped buying something for myself to send money home. And I realize something sharp and clear. I was right to cancel the water. I was right to walk away. The rain keeps falling, but it doesn't feel heavy anymore. It's just water, washing away the weight I've carried too long. Mia's voice comes through the phone again. Softer now. You okay, Hannah? I smile. A small, steady thing. Yeah, I'm okay. And for the first time, I mean it. Knowing Lauren's secret doesn't hurt, it sets me free. I'm done being the shadow in their story. The one they call when the lights go out but never when the table's set. The days after Mia's revelation about Lauren's secret withdrawal blur into a quiet rhythm. It's early January, and Seattle's rain has softened to a fine mist. draping the city in a hush. I'm Hannah, 27. A bookstore clerk who's finally let go of a family that never truly saw me. The $12 Lauren siphoned from the family savings. Hidden by mom and dad while I paid over $10 to keep their house running. Feels like the final page of a book I'm ready to close. My phone stays silent now. The flood of texts and voicemails from December gone. But I get updates from Mia, who's still connected to the family grapevine. She tells me Lauren's life is unraveling. After the water shut off, she moved in with a friend, promising to teach free yoga classes for rent. It lasted a week before she was kicked out for not pulling her weight. Now she's couch surfing, her Instagram quiet except for vague posts about starting over. Mom and Dad, Mia says, have left the house on Cedar Lane, moving into a cramped rental with a cousin in Oregon. The house, where I learned to ride a bike, where Mom used to bake gingerbread at Christmas, is up for sale. Its listing photo stark on a real estate site. I'm sitting at my small kitchen table, a mug of tea steaming, when the doorbell rings one evening. I know it's not Mia, she'd text first. I peek through the peephole and see Dad, his face lined and tired, rain glistening on his coat. I open the door, the radiators hum a steady backdrop. Hannah, he says, his voice rough. Can I come in? I step aside, but I don't offer a seat. He stands awkwardly in the entryway, dripping onto the rug. I messed up, he says, eyes on the floor. We all did. Lauren, we gave her too much slack. And we took you for granted. I see that now. I'm sorry. His words hang in the air, heavy but late. I think about the years I sent money home. The late shifts at the bookstore stacking novels while Lauren chased her yoga dreams. I think about Mom's Christmas visit, her pleas for help, and the secret they kept about Lauren's $12 betrayal. I cross my arms, leaning against the wall. You're sorry now, Dad, because the house is cold and Lauren's gone. But where was that sorry when I was paying every bill? When you banned me from Christmas to keep Lauren happy? My voice is steady, not angry, just clear. He flinches, rubbing his neck. I thought we were protecting her. She's always been fragile. But I didn't see how much we hurt you. I regret it, Hannah. I look at him, the man who taught me to love books, who used to read me Sherlock Holmes at bedtime. But that was a long time ago, before I became the family's invisible anchor. I'm not going back to that. Dad, I say, I'm not the one who fixes everything anymore. I've stopped, and I'm not starting again. He nods, slow, like he expected it. I understand, he says, and turns to leave, his footsteps fading in the rain-soaked hallway. I close the door and walk to the kitchen, where I'd been arranging a small cactus I bought last week. Its prickly green spikes catch the lamplight, a quiet symbol of starting fresh. The radiator hums, and the apartment feels warm, alive, mine. I'm not angry with Dad's apology, but it doesn't pull me back. It's too late to rewrite the story we had. I pick up my tea, the steam curling upward, and settle onto the couch. Outside, the rain falls, but I'm not the one left in the cold anymore. January slips into Seattle like a quiet guest, the rain softening to a gentle mist that clings to the windows of my apartment. I'm Hannah, 27, a bookstore clerk who's found something I didn't know I was looking for, a life that's mine. The chaos of Christmas, Mom's pleas, Dad's late apology, and Lauren's hidden betrayal feel like chapters from a book I've finished reading. I've shelved it, not out of anger, but because I don't need to carry it anymore. My days have settled into a rhythm I love. Mornings start with coffee, the kind I grind myself. Its bitter warmth waking me up as I scribble in a notebook, a list of books I want to read this year. From Toni Morrison to obscure poetry collections, I head to the bookstore on Pike Street, where I spend hours shelving novels, chatting with customers about their favorite stories. The smell of paper and ink grounding me. After work, I stop by the market for fresh herbs or a loaf of crusty bread. Small treats that feel like gifts to myself. My apartments become a sanctuary. The radiator hums steadily, the thrift store bookshelf holds my treasures, and a tiny cactus sits on the windowsill, its prickly resilience a reminder of my own. I've started writing more, not just book lists, But thoughts about the years I spent keeping the family house afloat. About the $10 I poured into water bills and repairs. About how I was erased from Christmas for Lauren's sake. The words spill out, raw and real, and they help me see how far I've come. I don't check Lauren's Instagram anymore. Don't scroll for updates on her yoga dreams or her latest crisis. Mia tells me she's still drifting, posting about new beginnings while bouncing between friends' couches. The house on Cedar Lane is still for sale. Its windows dark in the listing photos. Mom and Dad are in Oregon, starting over in a rental. But their silence speaks louder than their texts ever did. I don't feel sad about it. Not really. The quiet isn't empty, it's freedom. Tonight, I'm curled up on the couch. A wool blanket over my knees. The rain a soft whisper outside. I'm reading a novel. The pages soft under my fingers. But I pause and look out the window. The city's lights blur through the mist. And I think about the girl I used to be. The one who thought love meant giving everything, even when it left her hollow. I'm not her anymore. I've learned that family isn't a debt you pay forever. That boundaries aren't betrayal, they're survival. I set the book down and pick up my notebook. Adding a new title to my reading list, Their Eyes Were Watching God. It feels right. A story about finding your own voice. The radiator clicks. The rain falls, and I smile, small but sure. Winter will linger, cold and gray, but I'm not shivering. I've built my own warmth, piece by piece, and it's enough. For the first time, I know it's enough. I'm Hannah, 27, a bookstore clerk who's learned something hard but true. Not every family tie is worth holding onto. No matter how much you've given. I poured over $10 into keeping my family's house running. Only to be banned from Christmas for my sister Lauren's sake. When I canceled the water service, I wasn't just cutting a bill, I was cutting the weight of being the one who always said yes, no matter the cost to myself. Lauren's secret, draining $12 from our family savings while I paid their bills, showed me how deep their betrayal ran. But walking away, building my own quiet life in this Seattle apartment, has been the freest thing I've ever done. I don't regret it. I've found warmth in small things, books, tea, a cactus on my windowsill, and I've learned that boundaries aren't selfish, they're how you save yourself. My family's house may be cold now, but I'm not the one shivering anymore. I'm living for me, and that's enough. What do you think about my choice? Was I too harsh, cutting them off like that? Or was it the only way to protect myself? I know some of you have stories like mine. Times you had to draw a line with family. Times you chose yourself. Share them below. I'd love to hear how you found your own peace. If this story hit home, follow the channel for more raw, real tales about family, healing, and starting over. Let's keep talking about what it means to build a life that's truly yours.